FixMyWeightLoss.com. It's quick, personalized, and shows why your body is resisting weight loss so you know exactly what to fix. Visit FixMyWeightLoss.com. That's FixMyWeightLoss.com.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Now that President Trump has a framework agreement with NATO over the future of Greenland, the really hard work begins, nailing down the details.
The Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen told reporters that the island's sovereignty was non-negotiable, but that Denmark was willing to work on security. Frederiksen has called for a larger NATO presence in the Arctic and now meets with the military alliance's chief, Mark Rutte. He's the man who, after meeting with Donald Trump on Wednesday, has helped bring about a sudden de-escalation of tensions over Greenland, though it's still not clear exactly what the Secretary General and the US President have agreed to.
The BBC's Adrian Murray. Activists report that Iran's crackdown on nationwide protests has killed just over 5,000 people. Many more are feared dead, though. Information is scarce in part because Iran has imposed the most comprehensive internet blackout in its history. News and analysis, townhall.com. Some are cat fanciers, others dog lovers. Some have snakes, others ferrets, but this is one species not typically thought of as a house pet.
Volunteers racing to find new homes for pet rats found in a condemned house on Long Island, New York. A spokeswoman says they've collected 450 domesticated white rats, adding they're just as cute and cuddly as can be. Local veterinarians are nursing the rats back to health, but the group's still seeking more homes for about half of the creatures. So here's your chance to be the first on your block to have a pet rat. Jason Walker reporting.
President Trump is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and CEO Jamie Dimon for $5 billion. The president alleges the bank closed his accounts for political reasons after he left office back in January of 2021. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning. We are indeed broadcasting from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. We are delighted with a capital D to welcome to our microphones the official guest host of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, the one, the only, E.J. Haas. Good morning, E.J.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Yeah, it's time for the morning rundown, EJ. The morning rundown for Friday, January 23rd, and maybe Monday, January 26th.
Yeah, there's a possibility we are not getting out until at least Tuesday, maybe Wednesday of next week.
Is brought to you by our good friends at the Glock Store, glockstore.com, located just a few miles from the airport, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go. Here's the morning rundown for Friday, January 23rd, 2026, and maybe Monday, January 26th. Number one, big winter storm coming to the south and the east. Snow, ice, sleet expected over the weekend. Everything is expected to be shut down here in Middle Tennessee starting Saturday afternoon, continuing to Monday. If you don't need to be on the roads, don't be. That's good advice. Number two, J.D. Vance went to Minneapolis yesterday. He stood by ice. There's a lot more to that, and we'll talk about that with EJ. Number three, Donald Trump has dropped Canada from the Board of Peace. Well, Mark Carney is a complete idiot. So, what value does he add?
He doesn't bring anything to the table.
Nothing.
I don't think we're worried.
Nothing. Number four, Brandon Gill. He's a congressman from Texas. His father-in-law is Dinesh D'Souza. And he destroyed Jack Smith, the persecutor under Biden's DOJ of Donald J. Trump. And we'll see some clips of that here right away. Number five, there were 3 arrests in Minneapolis for that church invasion, but you wouldn't know it.
So far.
Yeah, so far. But you wouldn't know it if you watched ABC, NBC, CNN. They've got a different spin on it. Number 6, a magistrate judge denied the Department of Justice's arrest warrant for Don Lemon, who was, let's face it, part of that church invasion.
Hey, he was one of the ringleaders. I would put him right there with that Leahy Armstrong.
Yeah, Nakima Leahy Armstrong, whatever her name is. So there are reports that the magistrate judge is married to the assistant attorney general for Keith Ellison in Minnesota. Conflict of interest.
You think?
Yeah. Number 7, this is weird. There once was a quarterback named Colin Kaepernick.
Who?
Colin Kaepernick. He at the Super Bowl. They lost the 2012 Super Bowl.
2012.
I think it was
2012. That's like a million years ago.
It's like a long time ago. I think it was 2012. A long time ago. They lost it. The 49ers lost it to the Ravens, and he now is the guy who would kneel at the national anthem. He's not been in the NFL for 6, 7, 8 years, and but he showed up in Nashville yesterday. Mm-hmm. He gave a speech to Metro Nashville Public School staff, and then he went on the 1-year anniversary of the shooting at Antioch High School. He toured Antioch High School.
Yeah.
Why? And who paid for it? That's
a great question. Follow the money, right?
Yeah. Number 8, Tom Zalistowski will join us. By the way, that story, Tom Pappert broke that story. He'll talk about that in hour 2.
Great.
Also in hour 2, Tom Zalistowski will give us an update on all the goings-on in Ohio. And number 9, in hour 3, the one, the only, the great Neil McCabe will join us directly from Washington, D.C. Neil is now a reporter, the White House reporter for Real America's Voice.
Yeah.
How about that? And is a Stephen K. Bannon War Room correspondent. So there you go. That is the morning rundown for Friday, January 23rd, and maybe Monday, January 26th. This is EJ when I get to talk about Lenny McGill and the Glock store. For years, you've been hearing me talk about how the Glock store is everything Glock. Well, Lenny McGill, yeah, he said, let's call it the Glock store because we're going to be everything Glock. Have you heard about the latest Glock, CJ? The Gen 6. Gen 6, Generation 6. Lenny tells me the new Gen 6 Glocks have a new optic system, RTF6 texturing, an enlarged beaver tail, flat face trigger, trigger guard, undercut, and an integrated thumb rest, also known as the gas pedal. And I think I know what the gas pedal is. The other stuff, Lenny knows all that stuff.
He sure does.
In fact, Lenny tells me the Gen 6 Glocks are definitely the most refined Glocks ever produced. And as you might expect, the Glock store has already received their first shipment of Gen 6 G17s, 19s, and 45s. They were literally gone before they even arrived at the warehouse. That's because Glock store is letting you pre-order these new Glocks, so you'll be the one to get your hands on it first. And as a thank you for your pre-order, you'll get an extra magazine when you receive your new Gen 6 Glock. Here's what you do, EJ. Just go to Glockstore.com, click on the Gen 6 tab at the top of the website, place your pre-order for the Glock or Glocks of your choice. When they ship your new Glock to the FFL of your choice, or you pick it up at the Glock store right here in Nashville, the Glock store will throw in an extra magazine. This is a limited offer, limited time offer, only for pre-orders and only from my friends at the Glock store, the #1 source for Glock parts, accessories, and the new Gen 6 Glocks. Visit Glockstore.com today. Tell them Michael Patrick Leahy and EJ said to stop by. I promise you'll be glad you did. So let's go to EJ. I want to talk in this segment about how Jack Smith, the persecutor, the illegally appointed persecutor of Donald J. Trump, was eviscerated by the Republicans in the House. You know, Brandon Gill is a sharp guy.
He is very
He's
sharp.
like 32, Dartmouth grad, really sharp. His father-in-law.
Is he a lawyer?
I
don't think so. He does.
I don't think he is, but we'll check that out. Here he is putting Jack Smith on the witness stand. Go ahead with that clip, please.
How many days after Kevin McCarthy was sworn in as Speaker did you subpoena his records?
I don't recall, but those two things had nothing to do with one.
It was 16 days after becoming the highest-ranking Republican in the House of Representatives. You subpoenaed his toll records. Do you agree that that might reasonably be considered a violation of the speech or debate clause?
I do not, and I want to be clear that the toll records...
You were collecting months' worth of phone data on the Republican Speaker of the House, the leader of the opposition, right after he got sworn in as Speaker, all around the time of a major vote, that sounds like a flagrant violation of the speech or debate clause to me, and I think most people agree with me. And Speaker McCarthy had no recourse, did he? Because you issued a non-disclosure order ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these subpoenas. Is that right?
The toll record, the non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did. And let me ask you, Mr. Smith, at the time you secured those non-disclosure orders, was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns about...
Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
He was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk? It says right here, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in flight from prosecution.
Sir, when securing a non-disclosure order, the risks don't have to be associated.
You think that the Speaker of the House is a flight risk?
The question?
No, this is not your time. This is my time. You think the Speaker of the House is a flight risk? You think he's going to hop on a plane and leave the country?
No, what I was trying to explain is with respect to a non-disclosure order, the risks aren't necessarily associated with the subscriber to the phone. They're the risks to the investigation.
I think that you were using, this was clearly in reference to Speaker McCarthy, and you were using clearly false information to secure a non-disclosure order to hide from Speaker McCarthy and from the American people the fact that you were spying on his toll records.
Okay, so Jack Smith is the attorney there. I don't think Brandon Gale was the attorney. Who got the best of that dialogue?
Yeah, I mean, Jack Smith looked like deer in the headlights, didn't he?
Oh, my God.
But, I mean, who signed off on that? I want to know who signed off on that, because that's the judge that needs to go.
The last name would be Boasberg.
Of course.
On the McCarthy, on the Senate, the whole thing. On Blackburn.
Corrupt.
Senator Blackburn, Senator Haggerty, 10 others.
And I hate that it takes years to get to the bottom of all this.
Well, we're going to get to the bottom of what's happening in Minnesota.
I don't know
after
if we'll
the
get
break.
to the bottom of it.
But ABC's not helping. Back after this.
These illegal skill games, they keep popping up. Fights break out. They're illegal. We got drugs. We got gangs. They're all over the place. How do you get illegal slot machines in convenience stores when Governor Youngkin, you vetoed it? And no referendum, nobody passed it. How are they still here?
At the end of the day, it is local Commonwealth attorneys that have to bring the cases against the establishments and to get them out. And so, yes, I've vetoed bills. The High Court has said that they can't be there. And on top of that, our Attorney General has done a full investigation. And we go back to our Commonwealth attorneys in so many jurisdictions refuse to enforce the law. That's the bottom line. They protect the criminals at the expense of the victims. And that's why, again, elections matter. We have got to elect prosecutors who will put people in jail.
This ad paid for by Churchill Downs.
Do you think workers in Virginia should be forced to pay union dues and fees just to get or keep a job? For 80% of Virginians, the answer is no. That's why Virginia's right-to-work law is so popular. Unfortunately, special interest lobbyists in Richmond are seeking to repeal right-to-work in Virginia. With the General Assembly back, it is vital to tell your legislators and Governor Abigail Spanberger to oppose forced unionism and protect right-to-work in Virginia. Sign your petition today at virginiarighttowork.com. That's virginiarighttowork.com. The National Right to Work Committee paid for this ad.
Ready to turn your idle equipment into cash? Purple Wave Auction is your solution. We specialize in no-reserve online auctions, bringing nationwide buyers to your doorstep. From excavators to dozers, we'll market your assets to a vast audience of eager buyers. No hauling required. We photograph and list your equipment where it sits. Experience our transparent and simple process with expert support. Join successful sellers who trust Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com today to learn how easy selling can be.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pouty. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pouty.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pouty, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. In studio, the official guest host of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, a refugee from the state of Minnesota, Stan, the one, the only, E.J. Haas.
Good morning.
E.J., I've noticed that in the past year, since Donald Trump is in his second term now, the regime media, NBC, ABC, CNN, and almost every local television station has gotten worse in terms of lying about what the president is doing and what the conservatives are doing than they were before.
I tend to agree. Thankfully, however, it's falling flat thanks to other news sources. So some of the smaller media outlets, maybe they get a little less attention, but they do have access now to the White House and the White House press pool. I'm talking about, regular independent journalists like Nick Shirley. They're going viral, whether you like it or not, CNN. It's going to be out there. And then, of course, just the ability to find almost anything you need to know on X, right? I mean, everybody's sharing there, and it doesn't get throttled, even if it's not a popular opinion.
So this left-wing activist, Nikema Levy Armstrong.
I knew her as Nikema Levy Pounds.
Right.
Yes.
Now, she's a graduate. She's about 49 years old. She's a graduate of University of Illinois School of Law. She was, for 13 years, a professor at St. Thomas School of Law in Minneapolis. And then she had
super lefty school.
Lefty. Then she became the head of the NAACP, ran for mayor, lost, and was a leader of the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, she lost to Jacob Fry.
Yeah.
If it came in fifth, she's not a very popular person there, even in Minneapolis.
So on Sunday, Don Lemon.
I like calling him a lemon. He's so sour.
Don the Lemon, who got fired from CNN for being a complete idiot, was outside the church, City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, the Southern Baptist Convention affiliated church. And she was out there and said, we are going to disrupt this operation, this center, this key place. And Don Lemon, was out there cheering her on.
Yes.
And they went in and they interrupted the service and yelled and screamed at people and scared
children.
Scared children.
It was terrible.
It was a violation of the First Amendment rights
And the FACE Act.
And the FACE Act of the congregants and the FACE Act as well. And so this Nikema Levy Armstrong went on CNN. And before she was arrested, by the way, the following day.
Yes.
Along with 2 others, and probably more to come, and had a totally different spin on it. And CNN did not challenge her one bit. Let's play this clip right now.
Yeah. And I do want to correct something that was said in the beginning. We did not rush into that church. We actually went and sat down and participated in the service. And after the pastor prayed, that is when I stood up and asked him a question in response to his prayer. And then he responded to me. And then I proceeded to ask him about Pastor David Easterwood and how is it possible for him to serve as both the pastor and the director of ICE for Minnesota. And instead of responding to me, as soon as I said the name David Easterwood, the pastor said, shame, shame. And that is when I led us in chants, justice for Renee Good and hands up, don't shoot. So I want to clarify that. We didn't rush in. We didn't bust in. We were a part of the service until I got up and posed that question to the pastor.
All right, and obviously I'm not going to dispute your saying what happened. I'm merely describing how CNN is describing it. I obviously wasn't in the room.
Okay. So
I'm not going to dispute it, she says. I'm just going to believe what you say. Like, what? What, Erin Burnett? Okay, so many problems with this. First off, who are the people who typically yell shame, shame, as if they're part of some silly Taylor Sheridan show? Who does that?
Yeah, that would not be
the pastor. And I can promise you, if he did it, it'd be on video.
Yeah.
I promise somebody,
We've not seen it.
Somebody was recording her when she stood up. All right, are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to do it. I'm going to ask the question now. So there's that. And then as far as like not storming the church, think about the logic of this, right? They said they participated in the service. In order for that to be true, they would have had to not cause any reason for people to be like, who are you and why are you here outside the church prior to the service. Mm-hmm. But you've got Don Lemon with his crew and they're interviewing each other. That has to have been taking place during the service, because if it were happening prior to the service, then the people in the service would have known something's not going on, something's not right here, right? Because people would have been walking in the same doors they did. So the timeline does not pan out for them. Then, of course, take the fact that we've all seen the video. The video starts, and it was put out by these thugs, these bullies. The video starts with them walking down the aisles. Mm-hmm. So were you sitting down and then you were walking, or were you walking and chanting first? I promise you, if her story on CNN were true, it's on video somewhere.
Yeah. Well,
but it's not.
She clearly, there's video of Don Lemon interviewing her, and she said, "We are going to disrupt this thing."
That's right.
I mean, it's right on video. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah, she completely destroyed her defense with that CNN interview, which is absolutely perfect. I love it. Liars just lying out of their lie holes. I love it.
She was arrested yesterday along with 2 others.
Yep.
And more to come.
More to come. You know who wasn't arrested, though? That St. Paul school board member. Not arrested yet. Not arrested, obviously, Don Lemon. You talked about that in the morning rundown. And then the other guy whose name is escaping me right now, who is running for office and runs Homes for Homies.
He was not arrested.
He was not arrested yet either. So I would like to see all of them arrested. They are on video and they are screaming and chanting just like everybody
else. And disrupting the church service, clearly. Now, ABC apparently missed all that. David Muir, who, by the way, I don't know, a decade ago interviewed me, and was basically an automaton in that interview when he was started the Tea Party.
If ever there was TV guy Ken, he's it.
Yeah, Sparkle TV Ken, I think. So anyways, so here is how he's reporting on this. He doesn't report the arrest for the invasion of the church, but of course he's focused on the 5-year-old kid.
Of course.
Let's play this clip right now.
In the meantime, to the other news tonight, the growing outrage in Minneapolis, the images of a 5-year-old boy returning home from preschool, detained by ICE. Agents taking the boy and his father into custody. Vice President J.D. Vance in Minneapolis today defending ICE agents, claiming they were protecting the child, saying, What are they supposed to do? Matt Rivers in Minneapolis again tonight.
Okay, so,
Again, timeline tells you everything. Yeah. Throw a timeline on it. David Muir misses the fact that the father putting the kid in the car, sees the ICE agents, flees.
Leaves the kid in the car.
Leaves the kid, the 5-year-old, in the car, and it's 15 degrees outside.
And he's running.
And he's running.
He leaves his 5-year-old in the car.
Yeah. So great dad of the year right there.
I think, and he came in on this Biden border app in 2023.
Which means if he still has the app, he was also getting the notifications. Hey, here's $1,000 if you leave right now. We're upping it to $3,000 before Christmas. Go ahead and leave. You had every opportunity to do the right thing and you didn't. And then when it came right down to it, you left your 5-year-old son in the car. And you know what they did? Did they separate dad and child?
They did not.
Oh, no. They took the child with the father.
Then they call up the mother and say, hey, your 5-year-old is here. Your husband or former husband or the father of your child has been detained by ICE. And she said, I'm not going to come get that boy.
Yep.
Now, why? Is she illegal also? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I mean, she's father abandons the child. Mother abandons the child.
Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead. I'd like to see the Democrats and the media really defend this guy. Let's defend this scumbag and his wife or ex-wife or whatever it is.
Yeah.
This poor 5-year-old. Shame on you if you don't have a heart for the 5-year-old who knows what that home situation is like, but it can't be great.
Well, think about this. They came in 2 years ago under the Biden administration. The father, the mother, and at the time the 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And they've been doing, I don't know what they've been doing in Minneapolis ever since. But obviously, he's been told we're going to, you're illegal, you need to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and, picking him up from preschool or whatever. So I guess he's not at one of the Somali daycares. That's a positive.
When we come back, Scott Bessent tore in.
Yesterday's comedy tour with Scott Bessent was my favorite thing to happen to the internet.
That guy's something else. All right. He tore into Gavin Newsom. Back after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
How much did you win at Rosie's Gaming Emporium?
Hi, I'm Jerry from Richmond. I won a $23,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Newport News, and I just won a $5,400 jackpot from Rosie's.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm from West Virginia, and I won $99,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
Are you ready? Learn more about Rosie's rewards and jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-888-532-3500.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
What if you had a plan to build income outside your job? At Lifestyles Unlimited, you'll learn how people are investing in real estate to grow their income and make smarter financial choices one property at a time. Right now, join us for just $297. That's a savings of $443 off our real estate education program. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Hi, everyone. EJ Haast here, founder of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere. Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Official guest host of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, E.J. Haast, in studio with us this morning. E.J., a couple of reflections. Number one, Donald Trump has a superstar cabinet. These are all first-rate individuals, all across the cabinet. One in particular is very, very strong, and that's Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary. Number two, I think Trump's visit and speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland the other day, it marks a turning point in the history of the world. And the American view of the world is on the ascendant, and the globalist view of the world is on the decline.
I agree. And you can see, at least at the top, the leadership of the countries all over the world. They are excited to see Donald Trump. They can't wait to shake his hand. They were lining up to be part of his new Board of Peace, right? With the exception of Carney in Canada, but whatever, go pound sand or snow or ice or whatever it is you pound up there.
Ice.
But honestly, like it's nice to see, and I've actually been saying everything that he is doing on the world stage is to reset the entire world, the entire globe. This Maduro thing, that it's not just about, because he's a drug cartel and kingpin and whatever. There's so much more to it. And if you're willing to pay attention and do some research, you can find that. How he treats the leaders of other countries, who he allows to come to the White House, the alliances he's making with traditionally, our media doesn't really like them. They look different than us. They wear dresses, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I don't care. I am going for the economic, and I am going for the safety of the whole world. Greenland, look at it. You think it's just for America? Of course not. It's for the whole world. It's resetting the global stage.
It's about the importance of nationalism, with obviously America leading the way. But he respects foreign countries who are pursuing their own national interests. He understands that.
Yep.
And the form of government, of course, that some are dictatorships, some are totalitarian commie joints, and some are wishy-washy European whiny parliamentary disasters. Right?
That's accurate.
All right. So Scott Bessent was in Davos. At the same time, the failed governor of California was there, Gavin Newsom.
What was that fool even doing there?
I mean, he's got the Pacific Palisades, which is, they've built, one of 1,000 houses back in a year?
Awful.
The whole fire started because of his bad policies.
They still have not fixed the waterways and the ability to get water to that area. They still have not fixed that either. So, he's got problems higher than his quaff. His
quaff. So we've got a couple of Bessent clips commenting on Newsom. We'll start with clip 22.
People like Gavin Newsom. Cardi is actually one of the few people that Newsom has praised. He said he brought knee pads for some of the other European leaders that he thinks have been too accommodating to the president.
I think Gavin Newsom may be cracking up with some of these things he's saying. I think he may be in over his hairdo. And being on the national stage is very different than being governor of California with no signature achievements. But to say strange things like President Trump is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, what the hell does that mean? I could say Gavin Newsom is a brontosaurus with a brain the size of a walnut. And if you brought the knee pads, maybe that was for his meeting with Alex Soros. I don't know.
Boom.
I mean,
Boom.
really. But is he wrong anywhere? No. The whole thing with Gavin Newsom even being there was odd, but then to somehow insult leaders of businesses and everything. Listen, I'm no fan of WEF, okay? Like, you follow me on X, I don't like, global cabals of people figuring out how they can rule and run my life. That's fine. However, you got to be there because that's the sandbox, and how you play it for your own country or for your own business or whatever, right? Like, I understand why these people are there. But Bessent, boy, he just undressed Newsom in an ugly and savage way, and I loved every second of it. And he did it over and over again. It was like in a speech and then in subsequent interviews following that. So it was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. It was gorgeous. It totally took Gavin Newsom down, and he had no response. I mean, he couldn't throw together a couple of sentences in some of the interviews he was doing.
So here's more of Bessent destroying Gavin Newsom. Clip 15.
That's incredible. Now, you mentioned, before I let you go, you mentioned the stage right there, and that reminded me, or I'd be remiss if I didn't say that that you were there on the opening day of Davos. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, he was there as well. He had some interesting comments. He compared President Trump to a T-Rex. Some strange things that he said. What's your response? Did you see the governor, and do you have a chance to speak with him? What would you respond?
Well, I haven't spoken to him. Right. That he came to my interview with Maria Bartiromo. He seemed not to comprehend much of it. He seems that I thought.
Par for the course for Gavin.
Well, I thought Kamala Harris was probably the biggest economic illiterate from California, but I think that's something he's number one in. And I didn't really understand this comparison to T-Rex, that T-Rex is a fulsome fighter, but I would say I would compare Governor Newsom probably to a brontosaurus, just a big lumbering beast with a brain the size of a walnut.
Okay, so he used it again. He's just like boom, boom, boom.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, really think about how vile Gavin Newsom is to show up with knee pads. That's just ugly.
You wouldn't even, I mean, that would be the kind of thing a 20-year-old would do at a fraternity party.
Right.
Right.
And he was asked, like, oh, do you think this back and forth with the childish rhetoric or whatever they said, is helpful to the U.S.? That's what he was asked. And his response was, no, totally unbecoming. Okay.
The knee pad thing from the governor of California, who's not an official member, not a federal officer.
Right. But
Right.
he was asking about Trump and calling names and things like that. And Gavin's like, yeah, that's totally unbecoming. Meanwhile, he's literally throwing knee pads out into the crowd with Donald Trump's signature on them. You know what I would like to see?
What?
Donald Trump sue him for using his signature. I think that would be amazing. I'm sure he's like, trademarked it or whatever he has to.
Yeah. Okay, so the head of the Border Patrol, Greg Bovino, has been out. And Newsom has criticized him. Bovino has a message for Newsom, clip 9.
Gavin Newsom commented, I believe he was talking about one of your trench coats, but you take a listen and respond.
Greg Bovino, dressed up. It's as if he literally went on eBay and purchased SS garb. Greg Bovino, secret police, private army, masked men, people disappearing quite literally, no due process.
That coat looked like it wasn't something you could find on eBay, I'm just saying.
That code is definitely a Border Patrol issue. I've had it over 25 years. I bought that as a young age in approximately 1999. But what's interesting here is, I was just talking about this with my staff a few minutes ago, is 5-6 years ago, I wore that very coat, the one that he's talking about, to Commissioner Chris Magnus's coronation there at Customs and Border Protection headquarters in Washington, D.C., received nothing but compliments on that coat. That was during the last administration, as you know. Fast forward a few years to this administration, all of a sudden it's a problem.
Yeah, so, okay, just silly stuff.
Silly stuff.
He did that in Davos, Switzerland.
Right, in front of like every other country in the world. To me, that is so low class. It also shows who Gavin Newsom is. He cares a lot more about looks than he does about getting anything done.
Speaking of low class, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
Former Vice President Al Gore went to a speech given by Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Gore was reduced to heckling from the audience. He's sort of in it. Gore's a big fan of Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada. Lutnick had a few things to say about Carney, who is, literally trying to cut a deal with the Chinese Communist Party. Here we go. Clip 14, Howard Lutnick on Mark Carney.
And Canada is just thinking in this arrogant kind of thought.
Well, but just to build on what John is talking about, it's a style question. Can you get the same results without using words like calling leaders weak or their economies decaying, right? Is it necessary to provoke the visceral feeling that we feel among a lot of leaders here and in conversations with international investors? I mean, is there any other way? Is that style more harmful than it is helpful?
Well, I think it creates listening. Like people pay attention to it and listen to it. If you just sort of blend in, no one hears anything in Davos, right? Everybody says the same blah, 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 blah. And if you need to break out and you need to say it. So my view is, right, that Canada has never expressed to the world that they have the best deal, the second best deal in the world. The best deal in the world is Mexico, because remember, they have USMCA, which means 85% of the Canadian economy comes into the United States for zero. And there he is complaining that he's going to go to China and improve it. What's he going to do?
What is he going to do? The Canadians are, the Canadian governments are so gone.
They're so gone. But go back to the woman asking the questions, too. Wouldn't it just be better if we all just sing song and pretend everything is super good and nice and we're never going to hurt anybody's feelings?
I think she was a CBC broadcaster.
Good Lord Almighty. No, sometimes you have to break out.
Yeah.
And not just to make news, but because when you've got something really great, brag about it.
Brag about it. We're going to hear from Peter Schweitzer after the break. We're talking with the one, the only E.J. Haast, official guest host of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Back after this.
Is a record player the best way to listen to music? Of course not. So why are you still taking vitamins in pill form that haven't been upgraded since the 1930s? Even if you don't have trouble swallowing, most vitamins in pill form can't be absorbed very well. It's time to upgrade to the pill-free future of vitamins. Advanced nutrition company, Healthy Cell, created a patent-pending ingestible gel that is clinically proven to have 265% the absorption rate of tablets. These physician-formulated supplements come in a small gel pack. You tear off the top and shoot it down. You can also mix it in water. They taste great, they're convenient on the go, and they're more natural too, without chemical binders, fillers, and coatings. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com. HEALTHYCELL.com.
Attorney General Miyares and John Fredericks talk about skill games.
They're unregulated slot machines.
They pop up in 7-Elevens in every corner of Virginia.
The General Assembly has spoken on this.
Skill games.
These things are illegal.
It's the Wild Wild West. Fights break out. Robberies increase.
Skill games.
They prey on the less fortunate.
I say it's a tax on the poor.
They're breaking the law.
My job is to enforce the law. These machines are not allowed.
Enforce the law and get them out of there.
When you see skill games, call the local sheriff.
These things are illegal.
Paid for by Churchill Downs.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they're making it through. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow 5-pack for $29.98. My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25. And a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code GODZILLA to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.99, Kings only $1 more. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they are extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
In studio, official guest host of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, E.J. Hust. E.J., you know, Peter Schweitzer is a great investigative journalist. I was down and visited with him. He's got a big compound in Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah.
And spent a day with him. He's a brilliant guy. And he has been working on this stuff for well over a decade and a half. And he's documenting, basically, here's where we are. He says we are literally in a civilizational war. Let's play this clip right now.
The first thing I want is for us to adopt the mindset who are concerned about these issues. This is not just about bad hombres. This is not just about wages. Those are important issues. This is about civilizational warfare. That is how our adversaries define it. So what that means is it's not just about kicking criminals out of the country. It is about deconstructing the political networks and the action networks, the direct action networks that our adversaries have put up in our country. Mexico does not need 53 consulates. I'm sorry. China and UK get by with 6 and 7, so we need to do that. We also need to kick out of the country political figures and diplomats that are meddling in our politics. They've formed alliances with nonprofit organizations. Foreign governments should not be doing that in the United States for the purpose of political action. As it relates to China, there are a whole host of things that need to be done. We'll talk more about that in the future.
Okay, so he's making the point, which I think I agree with. But the problem, EJ, is not just with these foreign NGOs. It's who they compromise.
Yes.
Or work with.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And, you know, part of the problem we have, probably the biggest problem we have, particularly in D.C. with the Congress and U.S. House and U.S. Senate, but it's even at the state level, and we have it in every single state.
But it's worse.
We complain about lobbyists, right? Lobbying isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when you don't have an ethos around it, that's when it becomes a bad thing. So foreign governments, would we let Russia just come in and create an organization and start lobbying our congressional representatives?
Well, there are laws against that.
They do.
But here's the thing. Let's take a pertinent example in the news. In Minnesota, the Muslim Attorney General there, Keith Ellison, has been caught on tape cutting a deal with these Somali fraudsters. Dana Perino has this. Let's play this clip right now.
And a Fox News alert also in Minnesota, the convicted ringleader of one of the state's biggest fraud schemes is speaking to Fox News from behind bars. Now, she believes that the scam was no surprise to local Democratic leaders, and she's naming names. She spoke to Alexis McAdams. Hi, Alexis.
Hey, Dana. Yeah, so everywhere you look in the state of Minnesota, right, there seems to be another fraud scam. So this one involves Amy Bach. She's a Minnesota woman convicted of fraud for taking taxpayer money that was meant to feed hungry kids. But listen to this. Bach tells me the real issue here is the state of Minnesota, which she says kept giving scammers your taxpayer money even after they were flagged as fraudsters.
I have to believe that the governor's office and Keith Ellison's office were aware of this. They've said they were involved in helping the FBI. They've said they were made aware, but apparently I'm scary, so they couldn't do anything.
So Bach ran this nonprofit called Feeding Our Future. You might have heard of it. It was one of dozens convicted in this $250 million scam. You can see her mugshot there. Prosecutors say this group set up sham restaurants. They pretended they were making these meals. They got paid by the state for those meals, but they just pocketed the cash. Bach, who's looking at 30 years behind bars, tells me the state signed off on those businesses, not her.
That goes
back. It all went through a process.
Thanks, Patrick.
That goes back to my rant from a couple of weeks ago, where I said raid the offices of DHS, that's Department of Human Services.
Department of Human
Minnesota.
Services, yeah.
And all of the others. So there's transportation companies, autism companies, healthcare companies that are all under investigation now for fraudulent behavior, thanks to, Nick Shirley and other investigators that have been working on this. Okay, so she's not wrong. Amy Bach isn't. That they have to have known because those departments and agencies were responsible, including the AG's office, for oversight, for the distribution of funds, for the licensing and licensing renewals, for managing when they had violations. And yet they were signed off on over and over and over again. Now, Keith Ellison met with some of the leaders in the Somali community who were already under investigation by the FBI. And according to Amy Bach and others, not just her who's from behind bars, the governor's office and the AG's office were in fact aware that some people were under investigation by the FBI. And he met with them anyway. And talked about fundraising and how he can get money going.
Yep. Keeping the money flowing.
And don't worry, I got your back. Kind of was the theme of the meeting. And that's all on video. So, no more of this like, oh, let's catch the little guy who's, and I say little guy, but it's millions of dollars a year for every autism center or daycare center or whatever that's fraudulent. But, that's low-hanging. Those are the little guys. I want to see the people at these agencies all the way up to the head of these agencies under arrest.
We used to call Minnesota nice. I think now it's Minnesota Vice, right?
It's Minnesota nice, ... to your face.
There you go.
Yeah, they put on a great facade.
And then they steal you blind. Keith Ellison, Tim Waltz, Small Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis.
I think somebody needs to sue just so we can have Discovery.
All right. EJ Haast, a delight as always, champion.
Hey, stay warm, stay safe.
Yeah.
Don't go out if you don't have to. And then shoot me a text and let me know if we're doing this thing on Tuesday.
I think we'll be here Tuesday.
Right.
Monday, 50-50. Back with Tom Pappert after this. Who was in town yesterday? Yeah, Colin Kaepernick.
I don't know, that guy with the big hair.
Back after this.
Each of us is born with 30 trillion cells that make us. These cells determine how we feel, perform, sleep, focus, and how long we live. And to live our best life, all we have to do is feed our cells properly. But most supplements don't reach our cells, keeping us from reaching our full potential. Make every cell count with Healthy Cell. Founded with a mission to empower people to take control of their own health at the most fundamental level, the cell. Dr. Vincent Gempapa, world-renowned cell researcher and medical doctor, created supplements that work at the cellular level to support immune health, better sleep, sharper focus, and healthy aging. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com, HEALTHYCELL, and use code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio Show.
This is WJFN, Goochland, Bonaire, Chester, and WJFV, Portsmouth.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. From New Mexico to New England, people are hunkering down for a huge winter storm, packing snow, sleet, freezing rain, and bitter cold. Just what you get depends on your location. In any event, it's expected to last through the weekend. In Atlanta, hardware store manager Lewis Payne says he's having a tough time keeping ice melt in stock.
We had about 275 to 300 pieces, individual pieces, and it's all gone.
Backup generators are also a big seller.
Bought a Honda 3200 watt generator. Have been looking at generators for years, and it seemed like this is a good time, being that we have a storm coming in and potentially power going out.
About 160 million people are under a variety of watches, warnings, and other winter storm alerts. Tens of thousands of pro-lifers will be on the march today in the nation's capital. It is the annual March for Life.
Roe versus Wade was repealed almost 4 years ago, but march organizers say they'll keep holding the event in hopes of cultivating a culture of life in the country. Hundreds of thousands of children continue to be aborted every year, and abortion pills are proliferating in all 50 states. March for Life says their goal is, quote, not only to change laws at the state and federal level, but ultimately to make abortion unthinkable, unquote.
Correspondent George Williams. Visiting Minneapolis the other day, Vice President Vance says peaceful anti-ICE demonstrators have nothing to fear from the Trump administration. However, if you storm a church or assault a federal agent, Vance says, we're going to use every single tool we have to bring you to justice, put you in jail. Watching Wall Street, stocks are mixed. The Dow is down about 300, make that 231 points, while the NASDAQ 136 higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Have you noticed losing weight is harder than it used to be? You're eating better and exercising, but the scale barely moves? The real problem isn't willpower, it's metabolic dysfunction. And standard dieting just makes it worse. PhD Weight Loss has helped thousands fix the root cause of stubborn weight. Take their free metabolic assessment at fixmyweightloss.com. Fixmyweightloss.com. It's quick, personalized, and shows why your body is resisting weight loss so you know exactly what to fix. Visit fixmyweightloss.com. That's fixmyweightloss.com.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Though they may get pushed off the front page by other developments, talks aimed at ending Russia's war in Ukraine continue. The BBC's Sarah Rainsford is in Ukraine.
The talks, in some ways, are heading into a new phase today in the United Arab Emirates, because it will be the first time that the U.S. has sat down side by side with the Russian negotiating team and Ukrainian negotiators at the same table. So that is something of a small step forwards in terms of moving towards some kind of peace deal for Ukraine. But there's huge skepticism here in this country about whether Russia genuinely wants peace and whether those peace talks can actually make progress.
Iran's top prosecutor has called President Trump's claim about halting the hangings of 800 detained protesters completely false. Activists say Iran's crackdown has already killed at least 5,002 people. If there's an internet blackout, hard to get a handle on exactly what's happening in Iran. Townhall.com. Army helicopters will no longer be sharing airspace with commercial airliners near Reagan National Airport.
The federal government says temporary rules imposed after last year's collision of an airliner and an Army helicopter to improve the safety of the crowded airspace around Washington, D.C. are being made permanent. The Federal Aviation Administration took steps to make sure that helicopters and airplanes would no longer share the same airspace around Reagan National Airport shortly after the investigation into the January 29th crash that killed 67 people began. The National Transportation Safety Board plans to detail everything that contributed to the crash at a hearing next Tuesday. Keith Peters, Washington.
Labor unions in Los Angeles preparing for the 2028 Summer Olympics by planning strategically timed strikes. It's aimed at winning better wages as well as benefits. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are joined on our Zoom Newsmaker line right now by our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network, the winner, along with yours truly and our executive editor, Christina Botteri, of the Dow Prize for the best local journalists in America, the one, the only, Tom Pappert. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Michael.
Now, I think some of our readers of the Tennessee Star, TennesseeStar.com, may have been a little surprised today. They may have thought that they were reading the Babylon Bee with the story that you discovered. You broke, Tom, how many stories have you broken for us since you've been with us? So many stories. But this one, it's kind of a head scratcher. Colin Kaepernick, who last played in the NFL a decade ago in 2016, and he's the famous quarterback. He started the 2012 Super Bowl for the San Francisco 49ers, where they lost to the Baltimore Ravens, and played a few more years in the NFL, and then became famous for kneeling during the national anthem. And it's called, America racist and left, all the terrible things, phony stuff, and has been able to create a persona as a civil rights activist. He's really a left-wing BLM activist. And of all the people in the world to come and speak to Metro Nashville Public Schools staff members, Colin Kaepernick would not be at the top of my list. And yet, he was here yesterday. Tell us about the story.
Well, Michael, you said it could be something from the Babylon Bee. It could also just be news from a decade ago. Let's see what was going on in 2016 today, because you're right. He hasn't been relevant for a decade. He's been doing nothing. So we don't even really know why he was in Nashville yesterday, except we do know that sometime in the first half of the day, he spoke to Metro Nashville Public Schools administrators. We know this. Well, we received a tip. Then we called the building where this meeting happens and confirmed that Colin Kaepernick was indeed there on the facility's campus earlier in the day. Now, at some point, this transitioned to a tour of Antioch High School, which, just the optics of this, it's hard to laugh because it's such a serious thing. 1 year ago yesterday was the tragic school shooting at Antioch High School, in which a deranged 17-year-old student went into the school, fired wildly, killed one other student, and injured another before taking his own life. That happened 365 days ago yesterday. What happened yesterday? Colin Kaepernick was photographed touring the Antioch High School. There's photographs of him smiling and laughing outside of it. He met with some of the athletic people there. He met with the administrators there. And there's even a couple photographs of him with students who frankly seem to have no idea who this man with the large hair is. And so I'm disturbed by it, Michael. And I think, frankly, we need to know why Colin Kaepernick was there, how this was facilitated, and was he selling something? Because not only is he an activist, his activist group has created educational materials that the Biden administration put into AP Black history classes a few years ago. Not only that, but he's also people won't believe this. I'm being honest, folks at home. Colin Kaepernick is an AI founder now. He is the founder of an AI product called Leahy that is designed to improve student literacy. So was he in Nashville yesterday to sell his AI or to sell his educational materials? And if so, why wasn't this revealed? How come when we reached out to Metro Nashville Public Schools, they didn't respond?
Yeah, those are all good questions. Now, the company, just to be clear, the name of the AI company that he started is not Leahy, it's Leahy. Is that right?
Leahy, yes, with an M.
Okay, so a couple things on this. We've confirmed this. We had a source tell us this, that he was here, and he spoke to Metro Nashville Public School, principals, administrators, at the Martin Center, which is where they do professional development. And you called them up and confirmed that he'd been there, right? So you talked to an employee of Metro Nashville Public Schools. And then they've posted his tour of Antioch High School on Facebook. There was a group there, some activist group, that was involved in providing the tour. What I thought was kind of funny, when I looked at those pictures, I thought of not just news from a decade ago, I thought of news from like 4 decades. He's got this massive afro, right? And it looks like he's on the Mod Squad or something from 1970s. And it seems like, okay. But do we have any idea who paid for this?
We have no idea, Michael, and we have reached out to every party we could think of. Now, I will say one of the photos, and it does not appear to have been taken at Antioch High School, but somewhere else in Nashville yesterday, it showed Colin Kaepernick posing with a photo, another person. They were capturing a selfie, but they were standing in front of a backdrop for the Leahy AI product. And so one must wonder if this is perhaps a company-funded trip that Colin was sent out to be the spokesman and the ambassador for the AI brand.
Yeah, I think there might be some truth to that, but I wonder, why is it that Metro Nashville Public Schools is not responding to this at all? I mean, we made an inquiry. They're not responding. Why are they? And no other news outlet has reported about this. Did you see any other news outlet report about the Colin Kaepernick, adventure in Nashville Public Schools yesterday?
I have not seen a single one, which could just speak to the fact that the guy is fairly irrelevant. This is probably the first time our listeners have heard about him this decade. Let's be honest. I think his last moment in the sun may have been in 2020. So maybe they heard about him 5-6 years ago. But J.C. Bowman, the executive director of Professional Educators of Tennessee, he kind of suggested to me yesterday that while they should absolutely be saying whether or not any taxpayer dollars were used to facilitate this trip, part of the reason for the silence could be, one, the optics of arranging this for the same exact day, the 1-year anniversary of the tragic Antioch school shooting, and then two, the question of proper procedures. If, this is a big if, Colin Kaepernick went to Nashville to sell his curriculum or his AI. By the way, this guy's like a scholar. He has his own educational curriculum and he has this educational AI. It's just, it strains credulity, Michael. But if he was going to sell either or any of these products, was he following proper procedures for Metro Nashville Public Schools? Is it okay, in other words, without a contract, without a bidding process, to invite the company spokesman to go on a tour and speak to administrators?
Well, I think that's probably why they're not responding to us, Tom. I think what we're going to have to do it again, Tom. We're going to have to file a Tennessee Public Records Act request with Metro Nashville because they're hiding the information about Colin Kaepernick. There's something about it they don't want to share with us. And usually when they don't want to share something, there's something they want to keep from the public or money is involved.
Well, I think that's right. And the public certainly deserves to know exactly what the thought process was here. If it's innocent, an innocent explanation could be perhaps they thought Colin Kaepernick, a true activist titan, would be a good person to bring in to explain leadership qualities to Metro Nashville Public Schools administrators, in which case that's just a horrific idea, and I hope they didn't waste any money on it. But regardless, the fact they're not telling us means they know this does not look good for them.
When we come back, Tom, Metro Nashville Police Department put out a report about that shooter, the motivation of the shooter in Antioch High School a year ago. It doesn't seem to track with reality. And then we've got a couple of bills in the Tennessee General Assembly. One that has to do with blocking purchase of land by companies or individuals from China. So we'll hit those two stories with Tom Pappert when we get back. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy, the website, TennesseeStar.com.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your sat phone. Call now.
It's simple. No worker should ever be forced to pay money to a union boss just to get or keep a job. That's why hardworking Virginians overwhelmingly support Right to Work and agree that forced unionism is wrong. Unfortunately, Right to Work is under threat from radical state legislators who seek to overturn Right to Work and grant union bosses the power to have workers fired for refusing to pay union dues. Studies show that if they succeed in repealing Virginia's Right to Work law, it would cost the Commonwealth over 200,000 jobs. That's why it's vital to tell your legislators and Governor Abigail Spanberger to defend Right to Work in Virginia. With the General Assembly now in session, it's vital you make your voice heard today. Go to VirginiaRightToWork.com and demand your legislators and Governor Spanberger oppose forced unionism and protect Right to Work. Defend freedom and Virginia jobs today. Sign your petition at VirginiaRightToWork.com, paid for by the National Right to Work Committee.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with longevity blend, an infused blend with anti-aging calcium alpha-ketoglutarate, which has been clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are joined on our Zoom newsbreaker line right now by our lead political reporter, Tom Pappert, with the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network. Tom, you know, whenever I hear something from Metro Nashville Police Department or Metro Nashville government, I wonder if they are living in an alternate reality. Because, as we've seen, you know, much of what they report and claim just is not so. We, of course, experienced that with all of the machinations with regards to the release of the documentation about the Covenant killer, Audrey Elizabeth Hale, from the terrible, terrible murder of 6 Nashvillians on March 26, 2023 at Covenant School. And they still have yet to release from Metro Nashville Police Department any of that documentation, because we sued them in state court, Chancery Court. We lost there. We've appealed. We don't have the results of the appeal. We'll probably win the appeal, but we were able to obtain most of that documentation from the folks at the FBI in our federal case. There's still more out there. We still have this question in terms of documents that haven't been produced the alleged will, right? The alleged will of the killer that somehow has disappeared. We're still trying to track that down. But let's go to another shooting here in Nashville. A little over a year ago yesterday, there was a shooting by a student at Antioch High School where he killed a fellow student and then killed himself. Now, the Department of Justice said the inspiration for that murder was he was a member of a nihilist cult. But Metro Nashville Police Department came up with another motivation, a different motivation. Tell us about what they said yesterday.
Michael, this is an interesting development because I think we're seeing what could be a pattern emerging for Metro Nashville Police Department, and that is they seem to not trust the public with the full story. So where the Department of Justice said that this person, Solomon Henderson, was inspired by two cults. One of them was the Maniac Murder Cult, which is like an anti-Semitic online insane person cult. Frankly, the leader was just pleaded guilty last year after being extradited by the Trump administration. He pleaded guilty to planning a terrorist attack where they were going to poison Jewish communities throughout New York City on New Year's Eve 2023. So that's the type of people that this guy was inspired by. There's also another alleged cult that he was inspired by. We don't know the name of this one, but Metro Nashville Police Department, probably 6 to 8 months after the Trump administration gave us this information, made it public for the world to see, the local police department said yesterday only that he was motivated by people on the internet, and he was obsessed with niche internet communities. He idolized mass murderers and considered them saints. So we've glossed over a lot of details here. And not only are we losing the meat of the story, which is that there is a cult operated by a foreign national that is either recruiting or inspiring American citizens to commit atrocities against their own countrymen. No, we're ignoring all of that, and we're just going to say he was inspired by some niche internet communities. I think this, one, it seems to think that the people of Nashville are too stupid for the whole story, or else Metro Nashville didn't figure out the whole story. And two, this is a real limitation. Parents need to know that children can be radicalized. They can fall into this pit of despair called what the government calls them, the federal government, a narcissistic online cult. And so a nihilistic, I should say, not narcissistic, nihilism online cult. And so I think that this is a true misstep by the local police. They're not giving the full story. They're not being completely honest. And they're not telling the citizens, the parents of the city, what they need to know to make sure their kid isn't going down this direction.
There's a related story that you also wrote. A former assistant principal at that high school has sued Nashville and her former boss, alleging she developed post-traumatic stress disorder after witnessing Solomon Henderson take his own life after he fatally shot another student at the school on January 22nd, 2025. Tell us about that lawsuit.
Well, it's very fascinating. The lawsuit was actually filed last year. I believe it was in September, but it just was discovered by local media outlets earlier this month. And what it alleges specifically is that this woman, the plaintiff, a former assistant principal at the school, developed PTSD, but it was specifically because, as she alleges, the actual principal of the school, the person in charge, well, when the gunshots started being reported, that person allegedly fled the school and was nowhere to be seen, leaving this assistant principal to be the top person on the totem pole for the crisis. And according to the lawsuit, it was the assistant principal who rushed to the cafeteria and saw the killer take his own life. Afterwards, they claim that the principal, who, as I understand it, is still at Antioch High School and would have been there yesterday when Colin Kaepernick was touring the facility. But this principal apparently realized that this would make them look bad, and then kind of started a retaliatory campaign against other administrators who saw their behavior on the day of the shooting. Obviously, a lot of this is going to have to play out in court. We don't know who was in the room and when on that day, but this does make it absolutely absurd that Colin Kaepernick is touring the school on the anniversary of the shooting with the principal who allegedly fled the scene, and the Metro Nashville Public Schools are just trying to ignore this story and hope it goes away.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line. The Metro Nashville Public Schools are not in the business of educating K-12 students. They're in the business of preserving the power of the administrators, their salaries, and the power of the teachers' unions. Let's shift gears a little bit here. We got a few more minutes here. I want to talk about a breaking story. The Tennessee lawmakers have canceled sessions for this coming week because of the winter storm that's looming. The state Senate has canceled everything this coming week, and the House of Representatives could return on Wednesday. So a little bit of a curveball there. You've got a very interesting story, though, that you did about a bill that would block purchases of land by companies or individuals from China and other adversaries. Tell us about that story.
Well, Michael, it's actually kind of expanding and filling in some blank spots from Tennessee's previous legislation. Last year, Tennessee passed bills restricting specifically sales of agricultural land to foreign property owners, especially those from China, Russia, and other adversaries. Well, this legislation would specifically target non-farm land. So it would require all landowners, whether it be through an agent, through a company, or an individual who are from countries designated to be foreign adversaries like China, Russia, Cuba, North Korea, so on and so forth, they would have 2 years to immediately sell their land. They would need to immediately report their land ownership to the Tennessee Secretary of State. And if they, 1, fail to report their ownership, or 2, fail to liquidate and sell their assets within 2 years, it would empower the Tennessee Attorney General to start going after them with both criminal and civil liabilities. So it's very interesting. And once again, I think Tennessee is showing how to be a model when it comes to not just now immigration legislation, but legislation that will protect the national security of the country as well as the state, and preserve and maintain the economy by making sure foreign companies and individuals aren't buying up vast swaths of territory, and assuage concerns that I think are very appropriate about the number of specifically Chinese companies who are buying properties, agricultural and otherwise, seemingly as close as they can get them to American military bases.
This bill was introduced by State Representative Jay Reedy. He's a Republican from Aaron, Tennessee, which is about 75 miles west of Nashville. I'm particularly fond of Aaron, Tennessee. It's called Aaron because that's another name for Ireland. And it was settled by Irish workers who were working on the railroad out there. It's a small little community, but it is now known as the center of the very best St. Patrick's Day parade in the South. How about that? What are the odds that this particular bill will pass in this session of the Tennessee General Assembly, Tom Pappert?
Well, Michael, kind of its predecessor, not a direct predecessor, but that bill I mentioned that targeted agricultural land, that passed with no problems last year, was signed by Governor Bill Leahy and quickly became law. I think this is something that the Republican supermajority in Tennessee is not going to have any problem pushing through, so long as there's not some sort of poison pill added at the last minute.
I think you're exactly right. Tom Pappert, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. If we're lucky, we may see you again on Monday, but if not, it might be Tuesday because of the big winter storm. Tom, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael, and everybody at home, stay warm out there.
Yeah, and don't get on the roads if you don't have to. Up next, Tom Zawistowski with the We the People Convention will keep us posted on everything going on in Ohio and all those Somalis in Columbus. What are they up to? Back after this.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Ponder this, Judgment Day, the day you go before the Lord face to face. For many of us, this day seems like a long way away, and we are told that all of us will be in a better place when we die. What many of us forget is that our God is a God of justice. On Judgment Day, you will stand before the Lord and account for all of your thoughts, words, and actions during your time here on earth. You might be thinking that you're not such a bad dude, you didn't kill anyone, and you went to church every now and then, so you've earned your ticket to heaven. Hold that thought, as the Lord has told us what we need to get through those pearly gates. We must believe in Him, be baptized, follow Him by keeping His commandments, love Him, and love our friends and enemies. It doesn't matter how much knowledge you possess, how many awards or accolades are on your resume, or how much money you have, nor how high you are on the ladder of success. Judgment Day is real, and you are not judged by a jury of your peers. Prepare each day for Judgment Day. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
For years, the Europeans have underestimated President Trump time after time. But at every turn, he's been right. On energy, on NATO, on foreign free riding. It's time they pay up. That's why he's cracking down on foreign countries that don't pay their fair share for American medicines, renegotiating trade deals for the prescription drugs we invent. President Trump is ending the foreign freeloading, making Europe pay their fair share.
Paid for by Americans for Limited Government.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are joined on our Zoom Newsmaker line right now by our very good friend, the founder of the We the People Convention in Ohio, the one, the only Tom Zalistowski. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Michael. And your very good friend is a very concerned friend, and we're praying for you guys down south with this storm coming. As you know, there's way too many Ohioans who moved to Nashville and moved to Tennessee, and we've been in touch with some of our friends who are down there. We're going to get real cold and we're going to get some snow, but we're praying that God just moves that temperature a little bit so that you guys either get rain or snow, but you don't get ice. So just know, everyone out there, lots of people are praying for your safety.
Is the forecast up there as bad as it is down here, or is it a little more moderate?
So the temperature is going to be brutal. Our highs, our temperature tomorrow, the air temperature is going to be like -5 degrees with wind chills like -20. And so for like 24 hours, we're going to be really cold. Then Saturday night, we're going to get like a foot of snow, and then it's going to be really cold on Monday. So that snow is just going to turn into, just ice. So it's not going to be easy for anyone in our country, but we're particularly concerned about the power outage potential in your area because that's a whole different animal.
There's one other thing too, Tom. Up in Ohio, you guys know how to deal with snow.
You're bet.
You've got the infrastructure. You get the plows out there right away. And I say this, I've been a Tennessean for the 3+ decades.
You've been in New York State. You grew up in New York.
I grew up in New York State, and I got to tell you, and I love Tennessee. No state income tax. Everything about Tennessee is great. However, my fellow Tennesseans are not particularly good at driving in the snow. I just have to be honest. And so we could learn a lot from Ohioans on how to drive in the snow. Any tips for those?
Well, listen, first of all, just don't go out if you don't have to.
That's a smart one.
Second of all, if you can get ahead of the storm, like today, right now it's like 20 degrees. And so my wife Nan went out and we bought some things, to make sure that, if we're, out for a couple days that we've got enough supply. So plan ahead on that. And then we have a generator. A lot of people don't have generators.
You have a generator. Can I borrow it?
I'll tell you, it's a beautiful thing, and it's come into play a lot for us over the years. But this is when it really comes into play. So just plan ahead, I think, Michael. The worst thing in our country today is people just don't forecast. They just don't take the time to say, hey, let's just play this out a little bit and maybe do some things, to get ready. And if you do that, you'll probably be going to be okay.
Let me ask about your generator, because a lot of people, when these storms come, think, gee, I wish I had a generator. What kind of generator do you have? How much did it cost? When did you put it in? How difficult was it to put it in? And how do you kick it on when power goes out?
Yeah, we have a Generac, and we've had it for literally like 25 years. But what we did is we got one that's natural gas powered. So it isn't propane, which can run out. It's natural gas. And so the only reason it won't work is if there's like an earthquake and the gas lines are broken. And it basically, every Friday, it actually tests itself. It'll come on, I think it's like at 10 a.m. on Fridays and run for like 20 minutes or an hour. And then it shuts off just to make sure it's in working condition. And then what'll happen is when the power goes off, it doesn't come on immediately because you know how it goes. Sometimes you have these little, like a dimming of the lights or a flash thing. If the power goes off for like 30 seconds, the generator fires up, and it's a motor. It's actually I think it's a Honda engine, and it comes on and starts running, and then it starts generating electricity. And then what we did is when we put it in, we had